Since I've been posting about psychic phenomenon and the manifestation of psychic phenomenon, I've received quite a few private messages, with sincere questions, and I've really done my best to respond. And I've also received some very beautiful messages where viewers have said that they had deep resonance with what I'm speaking about. And clearly, whenever you feel a resonance with anything, not just with my words, but with any, let's say, truth teachings, whether it's through the Bible or Buddhist texts or through a sermon or a message from a priest or a minister, then it is your own, the resonance of your own higher self that is recognizing itself as truth in the words of the person that's speaking. And there's no distance between you. Distance, doesn't exist. Time and space don't exist in the recognition of truth, because there's only one self. And we feel it. We feel a resonance. We feel this sense, this all over felt sense of rightness when someone is speaking, especially when they're speaking from their own direct experience rather than from a secondhand experience or from something they've read in a book. Because when you speak from your own direct experience, there's an energy, there's a transmission of energy. You can call it spirit, you can call it consciousness, you can call it oneness, you can call it what you want. But there's a really felt sense that is undeniable. There's a resonance that is undeniable. And again, it's really difficult with words. Words are almost impossible to utilize words to speak about what we feel and what we perceive and what we recognize as being truth with a capital T. And the very best we can do really is just to point to these direct experiences, and through that pointing and through the sharing, to share this transmission of energy that is really, really unmistakable. When we feel it, we feel it. And what happens is the resonance, the vibration or pulsation, or however you want to put it, is felt so deeply, and at the same time at such a subtle level. It really confounds the mind. The mind can just never get involved because it's just such a direct quality that we feel that is really, it's unmistakable, and at the same time we recognize it as being home, as being authentic, as being real and true, as an authentic reflection of our own inner knowing and our own direct seeing of our true nature, which is the Supreme Self. Many people have also asked or been asking recently, as well as, over the last several years, about my, let's say, orientation with respect to my belief system and, how I was raised and all of that. And I do detail that in my first book, An Awakened Life, A Journey of Transformation. But I'll just very briefly speak about it now. I was raised as a Catholic, and I wasn't a sort of devout Catholic. I didn't go to church every week. But even as a very, very, very young child, I used to have out-of-body experiences, visitations from angels, and all kinds of psychic phenomenon that was happening around me. And that also included dreams, lucid dreams, and visitations with Jesus and again, angelic beings. And then as I grew older, I started to study. After having had a radical awakening, I started to study Buddhist texts, not in depth, really via books like the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, and you know, other kind of books that I would say were more sidebar rather than in-depth texts, you know. And I also studied some Sufi teachings because I had powerful lucid dream experiences with Mrs. Irina Tweedy, as well as Llewellyn Vaughan Lee, who's written some beautiful books about the Sufi path and about his own awakening. And I've also studied some Native American traditions and some Zen teachings and so on and so forth. But, you know, all of that studying wasn't really to gather information from an intellectual standpoint. It was really this kind of call or resonance or pull to read a little bit more, to kind of uncover and define and describe the experiences that I was having, and to shed deeper light on what was going on, especially in the beginning, because I really didn't have a clue what Shaktipat initiation was, a Kundalini awakening, and all of those things. So these teachings and the studies that I did were really more about kind of aligning with and being able to deepen into more of the intellectual understanding about what had happened and was happening. You know, and all of that said, I really do respect, you know, every tradition, every path, every way that we connect with Source or God or Absolute Awareness or whatever you want to call it. And it really, in my view and my experience, it really doesn't matter what perspective we come from or what path we come from. Ultimately, that path will lead us back to ourselves, to our own inner knowing, to the recognition that God is already here within our own being. And as beautiful and as amazing and as inspiring as texts and paths and rituals may be, they're here just really and truly to connect us back to our own highest wisdom. And that might be through the teachings of Jesus, a relationship with Jesus, or a relationship with a Sufi master or a yogic master. It all ultimately is very beautiful and profound and wonderful, and designed perfectly for each and every one of us, and really it really honors our hearts and what we are able to kind of imbibe and recognize and listen to and connect with and to see, because it's really about our own clear seeing with respect to what is already here. So I wanted to just share a little bit about, I guess, what gives me the right to be able to speak about these things, and about what self-recognition or enlightenment or awakening is, what it looks like, how it's lived, because I will only ever speak about my own authentic experience. And again, we use these words, I use the word experience, but it's really not an experience, because an experience has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Whereas recognition of the self doesn't come and go. It's always here. No matter what's going on, it is always here. It is timeless. It's beyond time and space. And recognition of the self doesn't require time. And when there's a shift of consciousness, and when it happens, there's no going back. I mean, there might be a deepening into that recognition, but there's no going back. there's just this deepening into this clear seeing and this recognition that what you have always been searching for is right here in the depth of your own seeing and your own recognition and your own resonance or pulsation of truth. So when you feel a resonance, when you know what you're feeling and hearing is absolute truth, and I used to put my hand on my heart when I read a book or heard, a great being speak about something, or I'd read the poetry of Hafiz, or I'd read an excerpt from the Bible, and I would just put my hands on my heart and just feel this beautiful resonance. At the time, I didn't realize that this resonance is Source itself, or is God, or Spirit itself, and there's no separation. There's only this. And any seeking outside is a movement away from what is already here. So I'll leave that with you. Please honor, really deeply honor when there's a resonance and when there's a recognition and when there's this feeling of rightness within you, because that is God speaking to you as you in the one self. The self is speaking to itself, or awareness is recognizing itself, or Source is seeing itself, however you want to put it. Again, language is difficult. It has a way of limiting and constraining what can never be constrained and what can never be limited. So I'll leave that with you this evening in the beautiful, beautiful evening in the Bahamas. It's just absolutely glorious. And what can I say? Please respect, honor, enjoy, relish in, and see that your own resonance is God itself, Source itself, awareness itself, seeing itself. So that's all from me for now. Take it easy and be well. And again, if you have questions or if you want to leave comments below, please do so, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as I said in my prior videos, you can find me at juliehoyle.org, and you can also find me via the links in the show notes, as well as on Amazon if you feel like you need some support. My books are there for you. So take it easy, be well, and bye for now.